Skull Rock Podcast is brought to you by the generosity of the following companies. The Old Mill Press, publishing beautifully crafted books that illuminate our world. To learn more, visit theoldmillpress.com. And by listeners like you.
Hi, this is Dan Jupe, and you're listening to the Skull Rock Podcast.
Hey, matey, remember this as the day you sailed with the Skull Rock Podcast. Who among you thinks he has what it takes to join the Skull Rock's ruddy crew? Then prepare to be put to the test and face the trials of a Skull Rock life. Proceed at your own risk and mark well me words, mateys. Dead men tell no tale.
Welcome to the Skull Rock Podcast, your show about all things Disney and pop culture, where every week we take you behind the scenes of some of your favorite Disney films, theme park attractions, performances, books, music, as well as what's streaming, what's in theaters, and what's going on in this universe of entertainment. I'm Aljon Go, musician, longtime Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, and pop culturist, and you can email me, Aljon, A-L-J-O-N, at skullrockpodcast.com.
And I'm Dave Bossert, artist, filmmaker, author, and welcome to the Skull Rock Podcast. If you love Disney and pop culture, please subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also like and follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can also email me at dave@skullrockpodcast.com. Aljon, I mean, we're like a week and a half away from Thanksgiving. It's unbelievable. Where did this year go?
I have no idea. It scares me because I have to get all my Christmas decorations out and back.
And you know, the other thing, too, we just kind of blew past, and I'm sure I mentioned this a few weeks ago, but we kind of blew past our 5th anniversary.
Oh my
show!
Goodness.
We're in the 5th year of the Skull Rock Podcast.
Wow, I can't believe it. That deserves a little bit of applause, I think, and I can't believe it. Yeah, it was 5. Has it been that long, Dave? I can't believe it.
Yeah, we started the podcast in October of 2020 during sort of the height of the pandemic, I think.
Oh goodness, I can't believe it, Dave. It's been several years. We've had all kinds of great people on the show. You and I just keep on having fun each and every single week, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity, Dave. So thank you.
And you know something, the word is spreading. There's more and more people listening to it. We're getting emails from people all over the world. We're getting comments on social media. I mean, it's just really kind of taken on a life of its own. And I just can't tell you how thrilled I am to be doing this show with you, Aljon.
Likewise, Dave. It's an honor and a privilege, and it's great to be here every single week to entertain people and bring all that great content and document these great stories from these filmmakers through the years. And I'm looking forward to this week's show for sure.
Yeah. And you know something, I ran into a lot of folks that have been guests on our program this past week because I had the privilege of being invited. Nancy and I went to a great big, beautiful concert for Richard Sherman. Awesome. It was sort of a 2-hour plus extravaganza at the El Capitan in Hollywood. I want to say, you know, I don't want to use the word memorial service, but it was kind of a memorial service, but a big entertaining send-up for Richard Sherman, who passed away earlier this year. And I think it was just a spectacular celebration of an incredible life. I mean, Richard Sherman and his brother Robert Sherman created an unbelievable songbook, and it was so wonderful to see an outpouring of people from the animation community, the Disney community, and, you know, fans and whatnot, you know, fill the El Capitan to the rafters. It was hosted by Michael Feinstein, who just is a great entertainer, but there were people like Jodie Benson, Jim Cummings, Josh Gad, John Stamos, Haley Mills, Johnny Whitaker, I mean, just an incredible lineup, all celebrating the music of the Sherman Brothers. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful program. One of the producers was our friend who's been on our show many times, Don Hahn, was one of the producers, along with Greg Sherman, Richard's son, Howard Green, Tim O'Day. Just really a wonderful program to celebrate the life of somebody who's made so many people happy over the years. So it was just, a great evening out, and I'm so glad that Nancy and I were able to attend that.
Sounds amazing. It's a who's who there. So during this, were there performances as a tribute, or was it like a
the whole thing was a concert? Just think of it as a 2-hour plus concert of people performing Sherman Brothers songs.
I hope someone captured that somewhere.
The whole thing was filmed. I mean, I honestly think they should. I hope it becomes a Disney Plus special or something.
I hope so too. I tell you, Dave, before I even knew who the Sherman Brothers were, my mom used to sing me as a child, songs, Mary Poppins, The Bird, Supercalifragilistic. I mean, all of that Spoonful of Sugar, all of that stuff there from the great American songbook of the Sherman Brothers should be regarded as one of the greatest American songwriters of all time because of their contributions to the art. And I, for one, my life has greatly been enriched, like millions of others. Man, the Sherman Brothers, just icons and legends.
It was an incredible week, I have to say, to be able to go to that. But other than that, Aljon, it's just like we are slamming into the holidays. Next weekend, I'm actually going to be at the CTN Expo.
Oh my gosh!
In Burbank on the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th.
Okay.
Which is just, another one, which is going to be sort of a who's who of the animation world. And again, a lot of folks that have been on this show are going to be in attendance. I'm going to be there signing books along with Bob Weiss, former president of Walt Disney Imagineering. He's going to be there signing his book. Steve Anderson, the director of Meet the Robinsons and Winnie the Pooh, he's going to be there signing his book. It's just going to be a fun weekend of the animation community coming together, thanks to Tina Price, who is, the CTN Expo is her brainchild all these years.
That's amazing. Well, once again, I'm looking forward to that. And, I don't know if the event is sold out, but of course you can always go to CTN Expo, search for that and see if you can get tickets, because the panels are always great. And I think that's just a wonderful way, if you're an up and coming animator, artist, what have you, a great way to get some fine critiques from some of the best in the business and learn more about so there you go with CTN Expo. Looking forward to that. Hey, Dave, before we get into it, who do we have on the show this week?
Well, Aljon, we have part 2 of our interview with Dave Molina and Terry Shakespeare from, they're both very talented animators. They're the founders of Creative Capers along with Sue Shakespeare. And we're going to be talking with part 2, a conversation with them about their involvement in the animation industry. They have offices now in Los Angeles and in Tennessee. And also what I think is really going to be interesting for our listeners to hear, Aljon, is the stop motion films that these guys have made of Walt Disney using sound bites from an interview that Walt did back in the 60s.
I really wish they would put that on Plus or something, because those things are amazing.
Yeah, but I think what's great is people are going to be able to go to YouTube and see them.
That's true. But you know what I feel? I feel like they just need that platform too to get a little bit more visibility for it.
Oh, absolutely, without question.
It's just really great stuff, and I love the characterization of Walt and everything. It just has so much great attitude. And I almost want to have those maquettes, right? I want like little models of those things to have on my desk because they're so cool.
I'm the same way. I just love the stop motion puppet of Walt that they created. So I'd love to get one.
It is so good. So anyway, maybe that'll be the next piece of merch. I'd love to get that, or maybe sell it at the Walt Disney Family Museum or something. That'd be so cool. But anyway, great show. I'm looking forward to the Creative Capers team once again. And now let's get into our picks of the week, Dave. It's been a very, very cool week. What have you been watching and streaming?
Well, I went to see a film, Aljon, that I I have to tell all of you that every once in a while, a holiday movie, a Christmas movie comes along that when you watch it, you say, this has to become a classic.
Okay.
I saw the best Christmas pageant ever.
Oh.
And I saw that in the theaters. And the film is about the Herdmans are 6 siblings who have a reputation for being the worst kids in the world. However, when they take over the local church pageant during the holidays, they just might teach a shocked community the true meaning of Christmas. This is directed by Dallas Jenkins, who has done a lot of films and also a series on the life of Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you may have seen The Chosen.
Okay.
Or heard about The Chosen,
yes,
which is the series about the life of Jesus, and it's gotten a lot of praise from various aspects of the entertainment industry because it's just beautifully done. But Dallas Jenkins directs the best Christmas pageant ever, and I got to tell you, this movie has an emotional heart to it. It's got a fantastic script, is funny as can be, but it's also very moving. And it all centers around this woman, Judy Greer. Well, Grace is the character she plays. Judy Greer plays the character Grace, who becomes the director of the Christmas pageant at the local church when the woman who's done it for decades, takes a fall and breaks her leg and can't do it. So Judy Greer steps in, and it's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. This is one of the best Christmas movies I've seen in years. I really believe this will become a holiday classic in the sense of, the Home Alone movies or The Christmas Story?
Yes. The Christmas Ralphie and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Along those lines, It's going to become one of those films that you're going to want to watch every year. It just has a beautiful heart to it. The script is fantastic. The cast is awesome. Absolutely, really well cast. And of course, the direction is terrific. It was so refreshing seeing such a great movie in the theaters, especially after seeing some real turkeys lately.
It is that time of year for turkeys. But I tell you, who's criminally underrated is Judy Greer. She is just one of the best supporting comedic actresses. Her timing, she's so funny. She seems to be like in every movie as a comedic sidekick for rom-com. But Judy Greer is great. So I'm glad that she's in this as a, title character there.
Yeah, and these Herdman children are just brilliantly cast, including Emma Jean Herdman, who's the oldest, is played by an actress named Beatrice Schneider. She's like a mob boss for these, her 5 siblings. It's absolutely hysterical. But again, it has this beautiful, beautiful heart to the movie, a very emotional heart. And I think that can't recommend this movie more highly because I think this is just a wonderful film that people should see this holiday season. Just really well done. On the small screen, I actually started watching a show that came out back in 21, I think it was. It's called Goliath with Billy Bob Thornton.
Okay.
And the synopsis is once a powerful lawyer, Billy McBride is now a washed-up ambulance chaser who spends more time in bars than the courtroom. When Billy reluctantly agrees to pursue a wrongful death lawsuit against the massive law firm he helped create, a vast and deadly conspiracy comes to light. Billy and his team end up in a life-or-death trial against the ultimate foe, which could end up helping Billy find redemption and exact revenge on the firm. This is an Amazon original series that was created by David E. Kelly and Jonathan Shapiro. Stars Billy Bob Thornton. It is a fabulous series so far. The first season is incredible. Really well done, well written, well acted. William Hurt is in it. Maria Bello, Anna Hopper, Tanya Raymond is also in it. Really good show so far. It's available on Prime. It's got an 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb and 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. Frankly, I will watch anything Billy Bob Thornton is in. He is an incredible actor.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah. And then I also, there's a new show starring Kathy Bates called Matlock. And, many people may remember the Matlock series that Andy Griffith starred in. This is not a remake of that. They're just using the name. And I don't want to give too much away, but the synopsis is brilliant septuagenarian Maddie Matlock, who, after achieving success in her younger years, decides to rejoin the workforce at a prestigious law firm where she uses her unassuming demeanor and wily tactics to win cases and expose corruption from within. Maddie is assigned to Olympia, a senior attorney and key rainmaker with a thirst for justice. While Olympia's ex-husband, Julian, the son of the head of the firm, is intrigued by Maddie and her clever skills, Maddie works alongside the firm's younger associates, the charismatic Billy and the uber-ambitious Sarah, as she endeavors to establish herself in a new high-stakes world. Kathy Bates is absolutely terrific in this series. It's on Paramount Plus and CBS. It's got a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb, and I watched this on Paramount Plus. I've watched several episodes. It's really well done. It's a great show. There's an overarching story going through the entire season, as well as individual stories on an episode level. So check that out on Paramount Plus. And then finally, I went back to Apple Plus to continue watching Sunny. Living in Kyoto, Japan, a woman's life is turned upside down after her husband and son disappear in a mysterious plane crash. As consolation, she receives Sunny, domestic robots made by her husband's electronics company. This is sort of a comedy adventure mystery, and it stars Rashida Jones as Susie, the lead character in the film. Extremely well done, very funny, highly recommended. Sunny on Apple Plus. Aljon, that's all I've been watching. What have you been watching?
That's quite a list, Dave. It's very good. Actually, we've been streaming a lot this week. Check out Transformers 1. This was released a few months ago and now is streaming on Paramount Plus. I'm a big fan of the 80s, as everyone knows here on the show, and pop culture. Love the Transformers. However, I will say that most of the Transformers films are pure crap. They really are. They're big budget. Michael Bay, we use Michael Bay sometimes as a punching bag here for explosion films, right? But I can tell you that Bumblebee was a more recent film over the past few years from the Transformers franchise with Haley Steinfeld that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the first Transformers live-action film and the original Transformers animated film all the way back, and of course the series from the 80s, early 80s, from 83, 84, I believe, 84. Now, this
Transformers 1 is an animated film, right?
It is. It's a computer, all CGI, and I'll give you the boiler here. It's the untold origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, better known as sworn enemies. But they were once friends who bonded like brothers who changed the fate of Cybertron, their home planet, forever. And the voice cast is great. Chris Hemsworth plays Orion Pax, a.k.a. Optimus Prime. Brian Tyree Henry plays Megatron, who is known as D16. Back in the day, Scarlett Johansson is Elita 1. Keegan-Michael Key is B-27, who is also Bumblebee. So this is kind of like their origin story before they became the Transformers that we know. Steve Buscemi plays Starscream. Lawrence Fishburne as Alpha Trion. John Hamm as Sentinel Prime. I mean, the list goes on and on. All of these great stars, are in this film. And I have to say, it's great. If you don't know anything about Transformers, or if you know a lot about Transformers, it's great family fun. Two brothers that have two different ways of viewing how Cybertron, their home planet, should be free of these overlords that have taken the planet over. And they uncover a scheme. get involved in a race. It's a buddy movie. It's about friendship and ultimately how the bonds of friendship get tested and broken, and they have to go their separate ways because they have two opposing views about how to liberate Cybertron. A lot of layers there if you're an adult, but a lot of fun. And it has a lot of reverence for the source material, which I appreciate because there have been decades of comics and TV series, and I think there's something to please everyone. So high marks for me, 7 out of 10. It has a 7.7 rating on IMDb, and Metacritic score is a 64, which is not bad for an animated film like this. And the animation's super sharp, so congratulations to the team there for Transformers 1. Really enjoyed that. I've also seen the latest Despicable Me. And Despicable Me 4 was released also not too long ago. It's now streaming on Peacock. It is all about the continuation of Gru. Lucy, Margot, Edith, and Agnes welcome a new member to the family, Gru Jr. There's a baby in the family who is intent on tormenting his father. Gru faces a new nemesis in Maxime Lemal and his girlfriend Valentina, and the family is forced to go on the run. This is super fun. The Minions, of course, play a pivotal role in this, but Steve Carell reprises his role as Gru. Kristen Wiig is Lucy. A lot of great actors. Will Ferrell plays Maxine. Sofia Vergara is Valentina. So a great voice cast coming back to reprise their roles. I love how at the very end, I don't want to spoil it, there's a really great callback to all of the different Despicable Me series. But it's cute. Whenever you get a little baby involved and the shenanigans are happening, it's really fun. So,
it sounds like it was movie night at the Go House.
It was movie night at the Go House
for the whole family. Right? Enjoyed Transformer 1 and Despicable Me 4?
Absolutely. It was great.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai is out. This is part 2 of season 6, I believe. And it's great. Great start to what is going to be the last, or this is the not the penultimate, but the finale season of the series. You know, the series started off great, had a couple lulls here and there. I feel like the Cobra Kai franchise or Karate Kid franchise for this particular series would have been best served in like 2, quote unquote made for TV movies, every season. So that'd be like 4 hours worth of content, but they tried to stretch it out over the course of, several episodes in a short season. But sure. Nonetheless, very, very entertaining. This is more cinematic, a lot more action scenes. I'm only a couple episodes in the front end of this, but it's great. And it's going to all lead up to the new Karate Kid film with Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio coming out earlier this next quarter after the new year. So I'm looking forward to that. But this looks to be super action packed. So if you're a fan of the Cobra Kai and Karate Kid franchise, this is a must see because the stakes are high as they enter the Sekai Tekai Global Tournament. And with all of the great intrigue with Cobra Kai, their fierce rivals coming back, there's new enemies on the horizon for the team to take on. So there's a lot of teen drama, teen angst, and of course, the senseis of Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso come head to head, and they face their greatest fear because John Kreese is back. And so their mortal enemy is back, and craziness ensues overseas in Barcelona. Dave, it's a new country. Barcelona. I love it. It's actually part of that, David, they'd say Barcelona. And yes. And of course, in the trailer, Johnny Lawrence says, "It's Barcelona, you idiot." Of course, in Johnny Lawrence fashion. And by the way, he is
such a great character. And I got to tell you, I am so glad that he's part of the series.
Oh, yeah.
Because he really is hilarious.
He really is. And, he lives in Nashville now. I've been trying to hook up with him. So, by the way, if William Zabka, who plays Johnny Lawrence, listens to this show, give me a call. I've got a guitar for you. I actually created a Cobra Kai inspired guitar that says "Strike First." It's got a cobra, a black and yellow graphic on it, that much like you'd see on a Trans Am.
That's awesome.
I would love to give that to him, but I've never been able to hook up with him, but hopefully it will.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
I actually made one for Daniel LaRusso too, because I've been inspired. So I have a Cobra Kai graphic on one, and I have a Miyagi-Do, orchid on the front of the other one. So Anyway, that's besides the point. In music news, I checked out the latest release from Gwen Stefani that was released on the 15th. It is Gwen Stefani Bouquet. I am a huge fan of Gwen Stefani from No Doubt days. I really loved her as a songwriter and musician. And over the years, she's turned more and more pop. And this being, she's dabbled in country ever since she was dating and consequently married to Blake Shelton. Yeah. And I will say that this is a very pop country record. You can tell that the rock and roll kind of alternative writing style is still in there. So, these songs translate very well to pop country. And you can tell some of the songs, I believe, written with Blake Shelton on this record because his style kind of permeates a little bit through the songwriting process. I can tell by the way the verses are structured. There's a big theme through this of a redemption through love. And of course, this is a lot of love songs, a lot of themes about flowers and blooming and growth as a result of being loved for the first time or feeling love for the first time. So if you're a big Gwen Stefani fan, awesome. If you love great pop country music, if you like power pop, you'll like Gwen Stefani's release. It is not the top 40 that you normally listen to. It is very instrumented. Orchestration about it is very pop country. So I give it high marks. She's back. And this week, Dave, I saw one of my favorite bands at the Gibson Garage this week. They were doing a fundraiser for Guitars for Vets. It's Cheap Trick.
Wow.
And Cheap Trick did a very small and intimate performance there at the Gibson Garage. The venue's very small. And
when you say small, is it like a couple hundred seats?
There's no seats. Standing room only.
Oh. Standing room so only. What, maybe 150 people?
If that, yes.
Okay.
And so normally during these things, people pay high dollar to raise money and they have tables and the open bar and food and everything. And it's always great. If you happen to be in Nashville during those things, please come out. But this was a fundraiser for Guitars for Vets. And I've seen Cheap Trick many times over the years. I've interviewed Rick Nielsen, their guitarist, as well as hung out with the band numerous times. This time I wasn't able to hang out with the band, but my gosh, Dave, there's nothing like seeing an arena rock band, the likes of Cheap Trick, perform in a very small venue. It's intimate. They were on point. They sounded amazing. And of course they played their greatest hits from, their 40 years of just.
Do you film those?
I believe it was filmed. And I think there's going to be some clips of that, that will be released. So be on the lookout on the Gibson or Gibson Garage Instagram and on YouTube. There's a possibility of that being streamed.
Was it electric or acoustic?
All electric.
All electric.
All
wow.
electric. So they were playing all your greatest hits from Surrender to I Want You to Want Me and Dream Police. The list goes on, but it's really great to see a band like that perform in an intimate venue because they just let it rip. And they certainly did, man. Cheap Trick.
It's nice that they're still around.
Absolutely. I mean, they're to me one of my favorite rock bands of all time. Very underrated, but once again, I think bands that are like alternative rock, power pop wouldn't be the same without their influence. So my hat's off to Cheap Trick once again. What have you been checking out? Please let us know in the comments. Send us those emails and we'll review it in an upcoming episode.
Skull Rock Podcast. This week in Disney and pop culture.
All right, Dave. Leading into the holiday season right before Thanksgiving. I can't believe it. Here are the latest. Let's see here. Red One has been doing well at 10 million for the latest dailies, and Venom: The Last Dance just pulling up 0.5, and Heretic at 1.3 million. Dave, global totals so far for Venom: The Last Dance has been 15.9, 10.8 million for Heretic. Best Christmas pageant ever, pulling up at 10.8 million for this weekend, and Wild Robot at 6.6. So pretty good, I would say.
Yeah, again, I can't tell you how much I absolutely love The Wild Robot. I think it's a terrific film. If you get a chance, you should see it in the theater on a big screen. I think Chris Saunders did a fabulous job on that movie. It's really one of the best features, animated features of the year, I think. And I was going to go see Red One, but it's getting panned pretty well with the critics, but I may try and catch it. I don't know.
I mean, it seems to me like just another family popcorn flick, You know, I mean, you've got
Yeah,
Rock
but I mean,
is in it.
some of the reviews, I don't necessarily listen to critics that much, but when you start to hear that there's no chemistry between Wayne Johnson and the co-star, the Captain America character,
Chris Evans.
Yeah, there's like no chemistry between the two of those guys.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's at least what some of the critics are saying. So
No.
I don't know. I may try and catch it, or I may wait until it goes onto a streaming platform.
That's a shame. Well, you know, I don't know what to think about that. I mean, there are stories and rumors that, you know, maybe Rock is a little difficult to work with on the big screen, Dave. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, is that right?
I don't know. I mean,
maybe it's a clash of egos.
Maybe it's a clash of egos. I don't know. You know, Chris Evans is no slouch. I mean, Chris Evans is, you know, Marvel Cinematic Universe once again built him, much like World Wrestling Federation Entertainment built up Rock. But, we'll see. Well, speaking of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Dave, Black Panther 3, Denzel Washington, the man, says Ryan Coogler is writing a role for him in the next film. Marvel has not officially confirmed that a third film is in the works, but Washington spoke to Australia's Today Show and says the director is crafting a role for the film. Dave, I've heard a lot of scuttlebutt about this. Seems like Denzel is going to be in the next Black Panther.
He's going to be the Black Panther?
He's going to be in it. I don't know if he's going to be that.
Okay.
I mean, I think he's may have aged out of being the Black Panther, especially with how they set up the last Black Panther 2. But, you know, when asked about his future plans, Washington said, quote, "At this point in my career, I'm only interested in working with the best. I don't know how many more films I will make, probably not many. I want to do things I haven't done." And I think a superhero movie is something that Denzel has not done, to my knowledge. So, you know, at 70 years old, I mean, wow, this guy is doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, but, you know, Aljon, he's really one of the great actors today. Yeah. I really believe that. I mean, he just is a great actor.
He really is super smart, very intelligent, well-spoken. Denzel his career is legendary. And I can't wait to see him in the MCU, to be quite honest. I mean, it's great to see legendary actors like him, Glenn Close, among others, being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Dave. So how about this, Dave? This is one of the gas for this week, Wicked Dolls. You know, Wicked is out. Mattel apologizes for mistakenly linking an adult site on the packaging on a QR code, apparently. They say, quote, "We deeply regret this unfortunate error and are taking immediate action to remedy this. Parents are advised that the misprinted incorrect website is not appropriate for children," the company said in a statement. Dave?
Yeah, so this is reprehensible that this happened. This is sloppy, lazy work. Everything that goes on to packaging has to be checked and double checked. And the fact is that instead of wickedmovie.com, it was wicked.com. And wicked.com is an adult porn site. And that's what got onto the packaging. I mean, this is fireable. You know, you have to hold somebody accountable for this and just fire them, you know, because this is just, you know, so when you're creating something with, you know, you're going to put out, you know, hundreds of thousands or even 1 million dolls as part of the, you know, onto the store shelves, you've got to triple check everything that goes on there. You got to put multiple eyes onto it, you know, including, you know, if you're going to put a QR code, you know, you test that QR code first, you know, to make sure that that's the right QR code. I've used QR codes, Aljon.
Yes.
And when I generate it, I've checked it 3-4 times to make sure that when I, you know, put my phone up to that QR code, I look to see that it's going to the right place. I mean, this is just this is craziness, you know, and this is indicative of what's going on out in the work world, where people are more interested in getting, you know, free lunch and having, you know, quiet rooms and all of this crap instead of doing the damn jobs. It infuriates me. It really does. Yeah. And it's just unforgivable.
So I was in a Target last night, Dave, and a Walmart. I was shopping. It was actually Kristen's birthday yesterday as we record this.
Were you getting Wicked dolls for her?
Well, I can tell you that Kristen and I did talk about this story. And the kids, of course, were at a daycare because we're having dinner and we're just doing some holiday shopping. Like, we might as well just buy a bunch of stuff for the kids. I almost looked at those Wicked dolls and pulled out my cell phone to test that QR code just to see if they'd fixed it. Because, what they have to do is either they recall it or they put a sticker over it, to try to mitigate any damage of stuff that's in the field. And it's just like, it's too late. It's too late for that stuff. It's a damn shame.
By the way, I'm going to give you another example. This happened decades ago.
Okay.
When they put out Rescuers Down Under, not Rescuers Down Under, excuse me, the original Rescuers, I believe it was. Yeah, it's the original Rescuers. There's a zip pan in the film, and in the window of a building, somebody in the camera department put a topless woman.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's on the video for like one frame, right?
Yes.
But if you can, when they run the film, you're never really going to see it. But on the VHS release, you can stop frame. And of course you're going to see it.
Yes.
I remember being in my office and getting a copy of that because it had just released. And people were just going nuts because somebody went and checked, and that was in there. They didn't digitally remove it for the VHS release. They wound up having to recall all of those VHS tapes, destroying them and reissuing it. It cost the company millions of dollars, and the head of home entertainment at the time was fired.
Yep.
You can't allow something like that to happen. It's not a mistake. It is absolute. You're not doing your job. You're not checking. This was a known thing in the film that needed to be cleaned up. It had been cleaned up previously. They were doing a new release of it, and somebody didn't have that done. And so, this is the same kind of thing with these Wicked dolls. I don't want to belabor this, but it's just maddening to see something like this happen because it's not like there's a letter missing from a word. It's not, something that sort of, that happens, but this is something that should have been double checked, triple checked. And, I'm not going to belabor it though. Let's move on.
Okay. Well, John Mayer in music news and Mick G, a video and filmmaker, team up to buy historic Jim Henson lot in Hollywood for $60 million. According to the Hollywood Reporter, this storied property, formerly A&M Studios and earlier Charlie Chaplin Studios, had been part or subject of bid speculation from the Church of Scientology. This is odd and strange and somewhat cool, Dave.
Well, I mean, I'm so glad these two are buying that studio. It is a storied studio in Hollywood. It is a wonderful piece of property. It's where they've recorded We Are the World, which there's a documentary out, and Quincy Jones just passed away and all of that. But it was originally the Charlie Chaplin Studios, and then eventually Jim Henson purchased the property. And at the front gate into the studio, there's a wonderful Kermit the Frog in sort of the Charlie Chaplin tramp costume that's on top of a pilaster next to the gate entrance into the facility. I'm just so glad that these John Mayer and Mick G are purchasing this. It's a property that needs to really be maintained, and it's historic. It's a historic property.
We do a lot of this type of stuff here in Nashville. Our RCA Studios and Sun Studios in Memphis and different things like that. These legendary studios being preserved and actually still being used to this day. I think it's great that they have purchased it and hopefully will continue to use it and keep it up as a historical place. So much has been done there. Very cool.
Yeah, and I think it's great. It's a great story.
Well, I tell you what's great for Disney Plus and Disney holiday fans, Descendants fans, is that Kylie Cantrell is back as Red, as the daughter of the Queen of Hearts. This music video is out. I know that there's a lot of our listeners that are big fans of the Disney Descendants franchise. I think they've done an amazing job. Of course, The Rise of Red, Descendants Rise of Red, is Disney Plus's most watched live action original movie since Hocus Pocus 2, with over 33 million views in just 12 weeks. Of course, Kylie Cantrell will perform Red Christmas in the 98th Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade over there aboard the Brick Changer float by Lego. That's happening Thursday, November 28th, just in time for Thanksgiving. Dave, this franchise has no sign of stopping. The Descendants, Rise of Red is such a fun, family type of film. I think it's fun. And,
awesome.
And great musicianship there, good pop songs. How about this, Dave? A new clip from Almost Christmas Story, directed by David Lowery, of course, surfaced, and now it's ready to be seen by everyone. This animated holiday short is now streaming on Disney Plus. Have you been able to check this out or earmark it?
Yes, I did watch this, and I didn't put it in what I watched for the week because I knew we were going to do this story. I watched this through the Academy screening room because it's up for Academy consideration for Best Animated Short. It's a beautiful holiday short, beautifully animated, wonderful story. I highly recommend people check this out on Disney Plus. And Almost Christmas Story, and it's very well done. And by the way, there's another short by Taika Waititi has a short out that's called The Boy and the Octopus, and it's also a Christmas, holiday short.
Well, great if it has
and you could check that out on YouTube, The Boy and the Octopus.
Okay.
And that's again a wonderfully done short by Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
And an Almost Christmas Story. Check that out on Disney Plus. I loved it, by the way. Both of them.
That's great. I'm looking forward to that for sure. All righty here. I believe it is time for
Obituary Roll Call.
All right, Dave. This week we have our regrets. Timothy West, legendary British stage, TV, and film actor, dies at the age of 90. This actor in Day of the Jackal, Gentleman Jack, EastEnders, and Shakespeare plays. He was the husband of Fawlty Towers star Prunella Scales. We've talked about Fawlty Towers here in the past, as well as some of his works. Dave, do you have any remembrances of Timothy West?
Timothy West is a recognizable British actor. I think when you see his picture, again, many people go, "Oh yeah, I remember seeing him in something." He was a terrific actor. I enjoyed many of the projects he was involved with, and he had a beautiful, wonderful life full of great projects. He hit 90. You can't beat that.
No, you can't. I think a lot of people my age, my generation, remember him from Oliver Twist. So,
yeah,
that's good stuff there. And Paul Englund from Phantom Menace, Gladiator, and Game of Thrones makeup designer, dies at the age of 75. He was the winner of 2 Emmys and 2 Oscar nominees. He also worked on Nicole Kidman's Nose and The Hours, Empire of the Sun, and Phantom Menace, of course, Star Wars, and that's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and 6 Bond movies. Boy, this guy has had a career in the makeup business. What great stuff. What a great career.
Yeah, I mean, he was really a veteran makeup artist, and it's amazing when you start to look at his resume of films and TV shows that he was involved with.
Makeup artistry is something that, if it's done well, it totally goes unnoticed. And these people are true artists. So, Paul Englund, yes.
Yeah, and I was going to say, to add on to what you're saying about, true artists, and if it's done well, all you have to do is watch The Penguin that's running on Max and look at the makeup job on Colin Farrell. He's unrecognizable as Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
And the makeup team, the makeup artists that are working on him for that show, they deserve every award there is because his makeup is flawless. And again, he's unrecognizable as Colin Farrell.
It's good stuff right there.
Yeah.
Well, rest in peace to all those great artists. We will miss you, and you've left behind a tremendous amount of work for us to go through and enjoy. Now let's sit back and relax. We're back with Creative Keepers. The team of Dave Molina, Terry Shakespeare are back for round 2 right here on Skull Rock Podcast.
Let's do it.
Skull Rock Podcast. Interview time.
Well, Aljon, here we are. We're back for week 2 with David Molina and Terry Shakespeare. They're both founders, and the only missing founder is Sue Shakespeare of the Creative Capers Entertainment Studio. So, Terry and David, welcome back to the Skull Rock Podcast.
Thank you. We're excited to be here. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah. Last week we kind of ended with you guys really sort of signing a big deal with Disney Interactive and really going from sort of the back room of Terry's house, and the studio really mushrooming into a full-fledged business. I mean, you had employees for, can you talk a little bit about what happened there and how many people joined you?
Well, like I said, we had Disney Interactive started throwing more games at us. So there was we were eventually doing about 5 at a time. And they finally said, why don't we make a deal with you guys and just have you do most of them? So they were just hiring everyone at the time. They went from 50 people to thousands in no time, and then plus us. And they were basically hire as many people as you want, because we're going to be doing. So we were hiring people,
and then we even when they signed a deal with us too, we were not only that, we also signed a deal to develop to be like a seed. How do you call it? Almost R&D for them, ideas of games
and stuff. So our ideas, our IP. So it was great.
We even had they even put a deal together for us to do one of our ideas, which was called Nightmare Ned.
And that went to ABC and was on for a year. And that was a cute little show. It was really cute. And I wish they would have done more of them. It was a fun character. We always call him Charlie Brown in the Twilight Zone.
Was that it was your idea, but you just sold it, or were you executive producers? Did you do any design work?
We did.
How involved were you with it?
Well, it started out as a game. We pitched it to them as a CD-ROM adventure game, and they loved it. And we worked with them and very heavily designing the game and the whole thing, and characters and animation and everything. And then they wanted to pitch it to television. So they pitched it to Michael Eisner, and he loved it. And he kind of gave the go-ahead, show it to TV. And then TV decided to do it. And we weren't as involved in the TV as we would have liked to be. They kind of took it and ran with it.
Yeah.
So we got back involved in it, and we had hired I have to tell you just a little sidebar, but we hired a guy named Walt Dorn, and who has since become a director of the Troll movies, and he's a brilliant artist. And we hired Walt right out of Cal Arts. And his drawings were so Walt. They were just his own designs. And we were thinking, well, can he draw Mickey Mouse? Can we use him for these things? And he said, I can't draw a Disney character. I just can't do it. I'm going to have to quit. And went, no, don't quit. So we were giving him little projects of his own. And we gave him this Nightmare Ned to come up with some drawings. And he designed Ned, and it was so adorable. He has a great style. So that was kind of the beginning of that project. Then we pitched it. And then as a TV show, we had Walt go work with them directly. So we had him work in their studio, kind of loaned him out for about 6 months and helped design characters and stuff. But yeah, so we just kept working on games. We were working on about 5 at the same time. CD-ROM games, and they were like the day and date projects. Hunchback and Tarzan.
Sure. Let me ask you this, Dave. I'm going to throw this question to you. How many artists did you guys hire into the studio to work full time in that period?
You got as high as 150 people.
Yeah,
just Terry and I to 150 people.
And how was that for Growing Pains? Because I'm imagining you had to bring on support staff, you had to bring on accountants and back office people to handle payrolls and all of that kind of stuff, and the taxes and compliance and HR matters and stuff like that. How was that how did you handle that?
Well,
Sue, basically
she handled that beautifully for us. She was so good at that. And, of course you can imagine the pressure and all that.
Sure.
Especially when you're working with feature, and a lot of our projects are going day and date release with
and working. So we had to work directly with the directors and stuff. And Sue really protected David and I, so we could just be focused on the creative and overseeing the projects and the quality of them as we went along. But yeah, working with the employees, it was real new for us to have employees, and trying to keep everybody happy, was challenging at times. And we had a lot of Irish folks from the Bluth days that had come back or didn't go, and we picked up several really great people from Ireland, animators, and so we had a really, really good quality talent pool working.
Yeah. And so how long did it go for you guys with having that many people under the roof? And when did things scale down? Because you know as well as I do, and I think our listeners, are savvy enough to know that the business goes up and down, right?
Yeah.
So you have to grow and shrink based on the work that's coming in.
Yeah, we had the deal was to last about 5 years, and I'd say we got just about there.
Yeah.
So, we fulfilled, I forgot how many games we ended up doing. Terry, do you?
I think about 50.
Wow.
Yeah, different titles. And,
So roughly, you're averaging 10 a year, roughly.
Yeah, and there were just so many at the same time, and Dave and I were just bouncing around in meetings, looking at stuff, and
we barely see each other some days because
we had walkie-talkies actually.
Yeah, we had walkie-talkies. We had to take out an ancillary building. Fortunately, it was across the street, and it was like 3 floors of that building in Glendale, and then the regular building we were in had another building next to it. We had another building space taken out. So we had quite a few employees and, of course, production, problems, things that we had to address and work on and artistic and some not so artistic.
What's fun about games was you have such little frames to work with. So you always had handcuffs with all these challenges of limitations of how large the characters are and how many frames you had to work with. So, but it was actually kind of fun. We kind of welcomed that. You had Mickey Mouse needs to throw a ball and you've got 2 frames to do it. So it was it had a lot of interesting challenges like that, technical stuff, because the technology wasn't like it is today. So trying to make stuff look Disney quality with those kind of limitations was actually kind of fun.
But our experience from the past with animation helped us, and our experience with consumer products also helped us a lot because a lot of the people that were involved with our deal they knew us from consumer products.
Right.
And they knew that we could deliver that kind of quality.
Sure.
The characters would look like the characters and, the nuances would be carried over into the game and stuff. So that helped us.
And you weren't just doing stuff for Disney. I mean, you've done stuff for Warner's, for Sony, for Lego, Hasbro, Mattel. I mean, you guys were really all over the place.
We had Simpsons. We had a big deal with them where we were doing a lot of artwork for them, consumer products artwork, and so we were touching a lot of different properties and stuff throughout Hollywood for years.
So after the games at Disney, after that 5 year, did you shrink down substantially, or did you just shrink a little bit, or what happened?
Well, we kind of morphed a little bit because what happened. Disney Interactive, like you said, everything works in waves. They got new management in, and then they decided to cut. So they laid off a lot of people, and because they were, I guess,
I think that if I remember correctly, that was during a period where they were getting rid of the in-house people.
Yeah,
and they were buying companies. Yeah, buying some game companies that were established out there.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
There was some Junction company in Texas that did what was that, Aljon? That first Mickey interactive game. What is that?
Talking about Epic Mickey?
Yeah, Epic Mickey. I think it was the guys that did the first Epic Mickey.
Yes.
And we did some development on that, actually.
Yeah, we did development for that.
Great game, yep.
Just a lot of design work and stuff.
Yeah. And so you guys wound up shrinking down. What did you go down from 100 and something people down to, 20 or
20 probably?
Yeah.
20.
Yeah. And then the next big step we took was Lego was looking for a company to animate some DVD movies based on their Bionicle action figures.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know how we connected with them, but they found out about us. They're out here from Denmark looking at studios and trying to find somebody. So they came to us. I guess someone recommended us, and we had a nice meeting with them. And then we decided we did a test for them. It's just about a minute test. Yeah. And we did it with a studio in Taiwan called CGCG, wonderful people. And they did a test, and Lego chose us, and they said, can you do this kind of quality for a whole feature? We went, yeah, we can do it. So we ended up doing 3 DVD, straight to DVD, and each one was a year. I mean, and they were a feature length. It was a lot intense work.
When you say feature length, you're talking 85 minutes?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, about that, maybe 75.
Yeah. Okay, 75, 80 minutes in that range. And so you were doing the bulk of your production in Taiwan?
Yeah, all of it. Yeah, what we would do all the, in Glendale, all the design.
Pre-production.
Storyboards, designing characters, designing the worlds, and doing animation tests and all of that. And then we got into production. It was all done over there. And then David and I would take turns and go over and direct it. So we'd go over for weeks on end and just live there. And it was fun.
It was a wonderful place. I spent a little time in Taipei. Yeah. Beautiful. Did you ever do any work with James Wong, Wong Studios in Taipei?
We didn't actually do any work, but we met with him a lot. We went to his studio a lot and had dinner with him a lot. And
he at the time he was a partner of CGCG. Yeah. We got to know him pretty good. And we'd meet him every so often, and he'd, want to know kind of updates. How are we doing? Are you guys happy with us still? And, we would, but
we didn't do any 2D work with him, though.
Yeah. No, it was all computer.
I did a bunch of 2D stuff through his studio out there. He's a terrific guy, James.
He is. Yeah.
And his son Raymond's, just good people.
They were very
I miss working with them. And so you did those 3 direct-to-DVD films.
Yeah.
And so the studio grew again, I'm imagining, on this side, right? Because you're doing all your design work, layout work, you're doing up your sheet, you're doing poses and all this stuff.
Yeah, there was probably about 25 people, something like that. Not a huge amount, but...
Right. And once you got done with those, what was up next for you guys? Was there another big growth spurt for you, or was it more, you were on sort of the roller coaster was flattening out and you were not spiking and dropping?
I think it seems like it was kind of flattening out after that. I think we just did Disney work off and on, worked for AOL. For Warner Brothers, and it just, but it wasn't, you're right. It was kind of just flattened out after that a little bit. And
where you could have a consistent staff of people.
Yeah. That AOL job actually lasted quite a while. It was like several years.
Yeah. And
we were doing all these like pre-emojis for them.
Kind of like emojis. Yeah. They were emojis, I guess.
Yeah. And, so we were working on that. And like Terry said, we would do jobs for Disney now and then. We worked through the years with, I'd say, just about almost all of the divisions of Disney.
Yeah, sure.
We've done this strange dance with Disney where we've always, we always go back to the fold, if you will, as one of Walt's terms, back to the fold.
Yeah.
Where we've worked with one division, and then one division finds out about us, and then another division, and then, because people move around.
Yeah, that's the problem with any big company. It's like you have a good relationship with some people, and then they leave. And then it's sort of like you got to reintroduce yourself. And
Sure.
So that happens anywhere, but. We've always been, I don't mean to sell like we're, huge Disney fanatics, but we are. And that's our favorite client. We just, to this day, we just don't even go after other work. We're just Disney. And if we're not doing Disney and we don't have anything, we just don't have anything.
Yeah.
We just love doing it.
Is the goal. I mean, I think to people like us who've been in the business a long time, it's still considered the gold standard.
Yes. Yeah.
Of quality, right? Even though that may be on a little shaky ground lately and there's a lot more competition out there, but it's still in most animators' minds, Disney animation is the gold standard.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think we've just always, and I'm sure you're the same, it's like, you just want to work for the best. It just makes it more interesting going to work every day. We've done a lot of jobs for small companies that just have terrible characters and they're not interesting and nobody ever goes to watch them and see them and they're just not fulfilling. But with Disney, you can work on something and you know it's going to get out there. It's going to be projected on a castle or it's going to be in a ride or whatever it is, and or on a TV commercial. And we just like that. We like that. Working for that kind of quality level is what it's all about.
We get up to go to work and you're going to be animating Ichabod Crane that day. Bringing him back to life,
and that's kind of awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. And we're working on stuff that even our kids go, oh my God, they know what these characters are.
Yeah. Right, that means a lot. Yeah,
brings a smile to a lot of people's faces.
It does. And what I always say this is we have such short attention spans. Some people go, why don't you work on features? And it's like, well, we kind of like short jobs. We're kind of in and out. They're fun, and every job is totally different and interesting. And you're only on it for like maybe 2 weeks to 6 months. And I mean, we love, sometimes we miss working on a feature for 2 years, but it's just fun working on that variety of totally different things every day.
When I was in the thick of it, I mean, I loved working on a feature, but sometimes you'd be on that feature for 2 or 3 years, right? And so it was nice as an artist to be able to pick up a commercial and do the work on a commercial over 6 or 8 weeks, and then three or 4 weeks later, you saw it on television.
Yeah,
there was satisfaction that you had actually completed something, you could see it done, whereas the feature took the 2 years or so, before you actually saw it in the theaters. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why so many animation artists that work on features do freelance gigs. Right. Not just to pick up the extra money, but it's the variety and that sense of completion.
I think you nailed it. That's it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys, where are you at now? And how long are you going to go with Creative Capers? Are you going to pass the torch to the next generation, or what do you see the future with Creative Capers Entertainment?
That's a good question.
Nobody's asked you that question.
No, we thought a lot about it. We don't have a grand plan, but when I'm speaking for David too, but I think when we moved to Tennessee, we were like, this could be the end of it. It's retirement time. Well,
let's talk about that for a second, because you've got a studio in Los Angeles, and what prompted you guys to say, hey, let's go someplace different? Because now you have your studio's in 2 locations. You're in the Eastern time zone in eastern Tennessee, and you're in the Pacific time zone in Los Angeles with 2 studios going. And how's that working for you?
Well, it's all David's fault to start with.
It is my fault.
You tell us.
I'll own up to that. I just decided to look elsewhere as a possibility to live for the future. And my daughter Megan was looking as well. She found out about this place called Johnson City, Tennessee, and the great write-ups on it, and said, "Hey, Dad, would you want to come out here? Because I know someday you guys would like to retire somewhere else." And I went out with her, and I saw this place, and it was just blew me away because it was so nice. It was so beautiful, and I love the people, the atmosphere, the weather, everything about it.
Are you guys sort of near the Blue Ridge Mountains, or is it
we are.
Is it the Smoky Mountains, the Blue Ridge Mountains? Okay,
Blue Ridge to the east, Smokies to the north,
and it's the Southern Appalachian.
Yeah,
right?
Correct.
So it's gorgeous country. I mean,
it's kind of Hawaii in the south.
Something about it is Hawaii-like. It sounds weird, but it kind of is.
And the cost of living is a lot lower.
A lot.
The crime rate is different.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not as I'm sure you don't have freeway-like traffic out there.
No,
not nearly like it is.
No. Traded the 210 freeway for an old country highway. Country drive to get to Terry's house for work now.
Now, do you have one location that you guys both work at?
Terry's house.
It's Terry's house again. So you've come full circle. You went from the solarium. You went from the solarium way back when, 38 years ago, and now you're back back to, is it a solarium or is it his studio barn?
You know what? It almost is, but it's funny you said that. I've never thought of it that way. But you nailed it. It's not
a little bit bigger than
the solarium. It's a basement, but it's a great location, and we've made it like Creative Capers. If you haven't been to our office, it's a museum of stuff, eccentric, cartoony. Everywhere you look, it's just stuff to look at. We're kind of known for that. Yeah. So we kind of recreated that. I mean, it's full of toys, Disney stuff, all kinds of Hanna-Barbera thing, you name it, it's everywhere. So it has that same vibe as we have in the Pasadena studio. But David comes over here a couple times a week, and but he also works at home, and with the, because of COVID and, as we're Zoom calling right now, David and I do that every day. And then he'll come over. Depends on what we're working on. But we came out here thinking that, we were just going to die, on the, no work and this and that. We've been busier than ever since we've been here.
Actually, we've been more busy with Disney work than...
Totally surprised us.
And you still have a staff in Pasadena.
Yes.
Small staff, yeah.
Small staff.
We have a lot of a big freelance pool.
And do you have like a den mother that sort of runs that place for you?
Well, Sue is the head cheese, of everything.
Right.
And then we do have Jessica Hendren, who is wonderful. She's she and Phil Hall, they basically run the place, but Jessica's great, and she's just...
So that's you have production management in place.
Yeah.
She wears two caps. She's an art director as well as a production manager.
Very creative. They're all creative people, but also just good at managing projects and stuff and working with the client.
That's awesome.
As far as passing on the torch, I don't know. We don't really know how that's going to work or if it will. Or
well, I mean, you guys don't come across to me as folks that are just going to, sort of shut it down one day and say, we're retired now. We're going to sit in our rocking chairs, feeding birds. But I mean, are you going to get to a place where you just become a little bit more picky and choosy of the types of projects you want to take on? And are you going to do some of your more personal projects? And I want to bring that up because when I saw you guys a couple of months ago, it was at a small conference of historians in Los Angeles, and you did a presentation. And are you okay if I talk about this, by the way?
Sure.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Terry just held up the little stop motion puppet of Walt Disney.
It's the first action figure you'll ever see of Walt.
I actually love it. I mean, I'd love to order one from you guys. But that said, can you talk a little bit about those projects, because those were really sort of like passion projects for both of you, and where can our listeners see those?
Yeah, during the late, I'd say 2017, 2018, Terry and I had been listening to these tapes of Pete Martin and interviewing Walt. For Diane's book, My Dad, Walt Disney. And we were listening to it, and we got so taken in with these stories that he was telling. He talked a lot about his life and the ups and downs of running a business, and it really connected with us.
Yeah, and when we were kind of down, we'd hear stories when he was down, and it would just make us feel, it was very inspiring.
Very inspiring. And it really, we had Walt on the brain for a while, just about Walt. No inclinations about doing anything yet. And then for some reason, I got a wild hair to do a sculpture of Walt, a bust of Walt, and give it to Terry for Christmas. And I wasn't even quite done with it yet, but I wanted to give him something. So I said, here's this, head thing of Walt for you, Terry. And he was, that's cool. Oh my God, Walt Disney. And then I think he was looking at it later in the day. He says, we should do something with this. We should do maybe stop motion or something. And like, hey, that's a great, and all these stories we're listening to. So it just started to come together in a few days, and we've never done stop motion before.
We always kind of wanted to, but it was funny. That Nightmare Ned game we did way back in the Disney software days, there was a sequence in the game that was stop motion. That was the only time we ever played with it, and we liked it. It was fun. Stop motion is I believe is the best way to start in the animation business. We tell kids all the time when they show our portfolio, do stop motion, because you learn all the basic elements of animation in it, and you're not drawing, but you learn all the same principles. It's a great way to learn.
Yeah. And so we started coming up with a plan of, and we started listening to more of these with an intent that what would make a great story. And we started at the same time, a second prong was to create this Walt Disney puppet. So we both started doing lots of drawings of Walt and studying everything we could about him, studying his films of Walt, for Wonderful World of Disney, and then his interviews with the Canadian Broadcasting Company, and also everything he's been interviewed with during the time, during Disneyland. He was interviewed a lot. And we studied all that and really got saturated in how he moves, how he talks. And Terry started sculpting Walt's head based off these drawings, and then I started doing the armature and building it up and studying
watching YouTube videos, trying to figure out how to do it.
And then Terry found out about a great kind of program called Dragon Frame out there that would assist us in doing this and getting
Which is an amazing piece of software.
Yeah.
Really good. Powerful.
And so the first one you did, what was the title of it and how long was it?
First one was Mr. Disney, What Do You Do? And it was our goal was to do them take about a minute.
Yeah.
So we chose an interview where he was telling a story of this little kid that asked him one day, Mr. Disney, do you do this and that? Do you draw all the pictures? Do you blah, blah, blah? And he kept saying, no, no, no. And finally the kid said to him, Mr. Disney, just what do you do? And then Walt says, that's a good question, So we just like that story, and he has a big laugh at the end of it, It's just cute. So then we built the set of Walt's office at the animation building, or just kind of our version of it, and the background. And then we had him sitting at the desk there, and we did it in black and white. And we wanted it to feel like these are old lost films that you found in the film library, that no one's ever seen. That was kind of our thought behind it. And they're black and white. We did them in and stuff. And we made our own opening, which was The Wonderful World of Walt, and it was kind of like Wonderful World of Disney. And, but you're right. We just did it with no goal in mind. All we wanted to do was do something with those voices, do something with stop motion. And we love Walt the man so much, that's why we got in the business, and so, it was just for fun. We had no idea what we would do with it. We didn't think, we can sell this or something. It was just
money was never the issue.
Right. That's why I said it was. They came across as a passion project when I saw them.
Passion project.
Yeah. And I want to ask you: are they available? Have you put them up on a YouTube channel?
Yeah, you can see them on YouTube. Just if you just type in The Wonderful World of Walt, and there's 5 episodes. We're working on some new ones now, but there's the original 5, and it's the original puppet, and I think they're all in there. Yeah, and just on YouTube.
Yeah, and I would just tell our listeners that, Aljon's going to put a link in the show notes, that's for sure. But also, I would just encourage our listeners to go check these out, because it's actually Walt's voice.
Yep.
And you guys have done a beautiful job, not only sculpting the puppet of Walt, but also the animation, the expressiveness of the animation in sync with Walt telling these stories. It feels so natural, and they're just wonderful, I mean, it's just they're wonderful little shorts that I thoroughly enjoyed when you showed them.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. The public's has been very happy with it. We've had a lot of people really loving, giving it,
hitting that nostalgic, heartfelt kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was always our goal, and people really connected with it.
I think the other thing about stop motion is that you really feel the hand of the artist in the stop motion.
Yeah.
When stop motion is done, like if you look at Nightmare Before Christmas or some of those earlier stop motion films, you feel the hand of the artist in there.
Yeah.
So some of the newer films have gotten so slick that they almost look computer generated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
sometimes you don't know what you're watching. you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
We always were inspired by the Ray Harryhausen thing, you know.
Yeah.
King Kong with his fur crawling around, you know, the kind of the jerky. We like that. We
Slightly out of arc here and there, you know, a little bit.
One of our episodes, we have him standing in Walton grass, and the grass is just constantly wiggling around. It just has that arts and craft handmade feel, and I think that's the charm of it.
Yeah. That really is what's beautiful,
Yeah.
I think, about the whole stop motion technique. It's a connection between the viewer and the artist.
Yeah.
Through the images that the artist is moving on screen. So what are you guys up to in the immediate future that you can talk about? Because I know there's top secret stuff, and you know there's things you're working on that you can't talk about, as much as I would try and pry it out of you. But what's the next couple of years look like for you?
Well, it's looking like, and we hope, just lots more Disney work. It's flowing really good right now. And unfortunately, some of the projects come 2 or 3 at the same time, so it makes it rough. But that's okay. Yeah, there's just lots of Disney work coming. Yeah, we really can't talk about it. You know, I can talk about one that just came out, which this is an example of the kind of work we do. A typical job. They just released in Disney World in Liberty Square in one of the windows above the Christmas tree shop, I guess.
Yeah.
They put a monitor behind the window, and they asked us to do animation of a silhouette of Ichabod. And it's for nighttime, and he lights a candle. And then it's just all silhouette. It's like
Reading a book.
Reads a book. He eats a lot of different things. It's several minutes. And they just opened it. We just saw it on, I think we saw it. Some fans already got it up and stuff, you know, so I guess it's okay to talk about.
And is this an Easter egg that the guests discover? At nighttime they're in Liberty Square. Hey, what's going on up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the kind of stuff we love doing.
These little fun jobs, and hopefully they're going to do a bunch more of those. We're hoping.
Well, that's kind of a no-brainer, because that just feels like something you could do all over the park in every land.
Yeah.
You know, there's the odd window here and there that's just doing nothing, and you could have some fun little thing in there that just plays on a loop.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And they already have really fans love it already. They're just like saying, you know, wow, that's just Disney magic. I wish they'd do more of this, you know.
Yeah. And we do, because I can tell you that when you did Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, you know, that
was kind of a similar thing.
Yeah, we played it. We collected all the cards. We still have all the cards and everything. I know you guys were behind it, and it's a really nice little piece. Those little Easter eggs you guys put in the parks and in the cruise line. And, you know, I know you, Dave, had worked on some stuff, and I'd be curious if you guys worked on anything for the Treasure, the new ship.
They're talking about it. We don't have anything going right now, but they're saying there's a lot of stuff coming. So we like doing the cruise ship stuff.
We do. We love just being, you know, invited to work on all these different areas of, you know, the Magic Kingdom and whatnot. Well, I mean, we do all kinds of work. I think that's
all the different parks.
Yeah. I think that's part of one of the mysteries of Creative Capers is people have not really heard of us as much, but we've always been there. And because a lot of the things that we work on are so secretive, that we cannot talk about it for sometimes years.
We can't put it on our website. If we put it on our website, the Disney executives, I mean, the lawyers, take that down. So Sue was like, don't put anything on social media or anything, because, you know, they're really tight on that. So, unfortunately, I think, and like David says, I think that makes us kind of this secret, hidden kind of little company.
Skunk Works, you know?
No one knows about it.
Yeah, but you know something? They're going to know a little bit about you because of this podcast and the interview we've done with you guys. Well, listen, I think that, you know, our conversation last week and this week have just been absolutely fantastic, really enlightening. I would really encourage our listeners to go see the Walt stop motion, The Wonderful World of Walt on YouTube. Look at those 5 films. I think people are going to get a kick out of it, and they're heartfelt. I mean, they really are. So I think you're going to enjoy watching those. If you haven't heard about them, absolutely go see The Wonderful World of Walt on YouTube. And Dave Molina and Terry Shakespeare, I will tell you right now, I'm going to have you guys back individually.
Okay.
To talk about your careers in length, and we'll do that in the near future. But until then, thank you for being on the Skull Rock Podcast.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Skull Rock Podcast is brought to you by listeners like you. We would like to thank Christine Bannis, Spencer Wright, Lindsay Scaife, and Joshua Volkert. Support the show for as little as 99 cents per month by clicking on our listener support link in our show notes. If you are interested in advertising your event, business, or service, please email Aljon at skullrockpodcast.com. Thank you for your ongoing support.
This is Rasulullah Zadani, layout supervisor, and you're listening to Skull Rock Podcast.
Your attention, please. Now loading on track number 1 for a trip around Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom.
Skull Rock Podcast.
All aboard.
Your Main Street to the world of Disney.
All right, Dave, wrapping up part 2 with the team of Terry and Dave, Creative Keepers. I'm so happy we had them on the show. They seem to just... they always have fun, and they're doing all kinds of great stuff.
They really are. And, thoroughly enjoyed talking with these guys. They've had such an amazing career. And again, very diverse. They've done tons and tons of programming, a lot of stuff for Disney, and a wide variety of stuff, which is amazing. And again, I can't talk enough about their stop motion shorts of Walt that they created the Walt Disney stop motion puppet. They animated the puppet using some interview dialogue of Walt from the 60s, and they're just so beautifully done. People should really try and go on to YouTube to check those out.
So good. I cannot wait. I hope they're able to do more stop action. That is just such an awesome form. I just love it. It just brings back so many great memories of the old Christmas specials and things like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right? All those Earl Ives Christmas specials. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the great Gumby stuff that we talk about here on the show all the time. Hey, gang. Thank you so much for listening to the show. We really appreciate it. If you love Disney and pop culture, be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform. Of course, we are streaming live all the time, or streaming content there on YouTube as well. So be sure to like and share all that content on YouTube and subscribe there as well. You can find Dave and I on Facebook, LinkedIn, formerly Twitter, and Instagram. And be sure to follow our site, Skull Rock Podcast, for all of the show archives. Please check that out. You can also, once again, follow me, Aljon Go, on Instagram for great fun, music, and pop culture. You can also check out my other podcast, Dining at Disney, with 2 shows every week, video podcasts on YouTube, and everywhere you get podcasts, Dining at Disney podcast. Dave, once again, you are DJ extraordinaire now, and all over the place. Dave, what's on your schedule?
Well, once again, I want to remind everybody the CTN Expo is happening at the Burbank Marriott, right by the Burbank Airport, and that's on this coming Thursday. They kick off with their ribbon cutting, and there's a special screening of Aaron Blaze's short. It's being premiered at the CTN Expo on Thursday evening, the 21st. The expo itself officially opens then on Friday morning at 11 a.m. and it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Burbank Marriott. It's going to be a who's who of the animation community there. I hope you come out, stop by, say hello. Let me know if you're listening to the Skull Rock Podcast. Also, Aljon, I'm going to keep saying it. February 20th to the 23rd, the Animation Y'all Expo in Nashville, Tennessee. I cannot wait to go there, Aljon, primarily just so that I can see you and Kristen in person.
I can't
and
wait.
Nancy and I and the 4 of us are going to go out and have a nice dinner.
We are. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. The other thing I want to mention is the Tunes Behind the Tunes on Sirius XM, Disney Hits, Channel 133. This month, we're featuring How Far I'll Go from the original Moana in anticipation of Moana 2, which opens on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And it's already going to be, I think it's going to be a huge hit, that movie, and they well-deserved. They need it. If you want to get a signed copy of one of my books, which is perfect for the holiday season as a gift, go to the oldmillpress.com. You can also find my latest book there, Find Your Happy Place, the 8-Step Guide to Boosting Your Creativity Through a Personal Retreat. In fact, Aljon, I just did an interview about that book for NPR, which is going to air, I think, in January.
Very nice.
There you have that. And then, of course, you can always go to davidbossert.com. There's all kinds of free content if you're interested in reading up on various aspects of animation. Check it out. And there's also videos. There's links to stuff. So davidbossert.com. And with that, Aljon, I'm going to say, go out, have a fantastic... I'm going to choke. Go out and have a fantastic week, my friends. Be good to one another. We're going into the holiday season. Give everybody cut people slack. Be nice to people. Hold doors for folks. Let them in when they have their directional on and they're changing lanes. Don't speed up on them like so many people do out here in California. And we'll see you back here next Monday right here on the Skull Rock Podcast.